now. There are a lot of myths involving PhDs as to when to apply, what to apply, or how to do. You have to understand one thing first for a PhD is that if you have a bachelor's degree, okay, around about in 5 years you will be done with your PhD. People have a misconception that you will take 2 years for a master's degree, followed by that you will take 5 years for a PhD, making it 7 years or 8 years. No, that's not the fact. The point here is that if you actually want to do a PhD after your bachelor's, in 5 years time you would be done with your PhD. So how PhD works generally in universities across the globe, especially in the US, is that the first 2 years you are supposed to do the master's curriculum, okay, and at the same time you start with the thesis which is required for your PhD, and from third year onwards you are focusing more so on your PhD and not doing your courses as such. Even after your third year, if you're taking up any courses, those are relevant to your PhD thesis that you're working on. Like for example, some students doing a PhD in something to do with chemical engineering, and there is a part of the research where statistics is involved. They go to the stats or math department and they take up a course of statistics which is actually going to benefit them for their PhD. Okay, so this is the thing, but in the first 1 or 2 years, whatever courses they do, those are absolutely relevant to their PhD curriculum. And it's a part of the curriculum. So the thing is, bottom line, what happens is 2 years of masters followed by 3 years of thesis work is equal to a 5-year PhD. Now, who all can apply for a PhD is anyone holding a valid bachelor's degree or a master's degree can apply for a PhD. People say that if you already have a master's degree in a home country, will we complete our PhD in 3 years? No. You will still take 5 years because you will have to do their master's curriculum. That is the university's master's curriculum when you go there. Okay. But if you have a master's degree from India or anywhere across and you wish to go for PhD, that makes more sense because you would have a good research background with your master's degree and your master's thesis whenever you apply for a PhD. The probability of you getting a PhD admission plus the research that you do during your PhD will be of better value as compared to at other levels. Okay. The other thing is that is PhD very difficult, how to go about it, etc. Well, PhD applications and PhD is not so easy per se. It involves a lot of dedication on your part. It is not a happy-go-lucky or easy task. It does require efforts from your end, dedicated efforts from your end. And if you are ready for a 5-year commitment, then it's obviously good to go for a PhD. Now, with PhD, what happens is mostly 99% of the time they are fully funded PhDs. And since they are fully funded PhDs, some students are excited or interested in going for PhD. We have seen personally, and at counselor's level or even at when we were students back then, when we were studying in the US, we have seen some people come for PhD. They use the funding obviously given by the university, funding as in the scholarship given by the university, wherein your entire education for the entire 5, 6, whatever time you take, 5, 6 years is free. Some students, they take up the PhD, they get the funding opportunities from the university. 2 years down the line, they don't wish to continue and they drop out at the master's level. They take the master's degree and they come out of it. There are professors and advisors who don't appreciate this. They absolutely don't appreciate this, and because of that, in the future, if they have to select some PhD student from a certain region or some certain university, they would be skeptical to take them. Because when you are selected by a professor for a PhD under them, they are looking for a 5-year commitment, and if you break the commitment in 1.5 to 2 years, they have to start everything afresh. They have to start their research afresh because whenever a student is selected for PhD, he or she is expected to do a new research, a unique research topic on their own, or continue an existing research topic on their own. So the things are planned, okay? And the thing here again is that the professors are being funded by someone. There are organizations across the US or across the globe like National Science Foundation or even IEEE, etc., who do fund the professors, who pay them for doing research on their topics. And when they fund the professors they can improve their infrastructure of the lab to support the research. They can hire new people on board to work on the research. They will be giving some part of the money to the university as well because they are doing it in the university as a part of the research. So these things are done, and because of these things, the student who goes for a PhD is being funded by the professor. Okay, it's not a free job. The student is going to work on active research, and that's the reason why the student is being funded by the professor. That is a thing which helps a lot, and you have to work on a unique research or a continuation of current research and get in new results, and at the end of 5 years defend your thesis and get your PhD sorted under the professor. Okay, here again, whenever a student is doing a PhD, his or her rapport or relation with the professor matters a lot. Okay, if you are giving the professor good results, obviously your PhD can be done faster. Like I know of personal examples wherein people have completed their PhD in 4 years, wherein they have spent their entire days and nights in labs. Okay, they have not socialized a lot, they have spent most of the time in the labs, and they have gotten the results to complete the PhD in 4 years. So it depends on you. Some people have taken 6, 7 or 8 years to get the PhD done because they have done it in a very happy-go-lucky way. It depends. Individual's choice. Everyone has an individual choice, and they can take it up as per their own will. And when you're applying for a PhD, ideally speaking, you should first look at the universities who offer the research topic which is relevant to your domain. And you have to find out at least 2 to 3 professors in those universities who are actually working on your domain. And ideally, you should try approaching them, email them, and talk to them as to this is what you have done in the past, and this is what you are seeing that the advisor is doing, and you would like do some sort of this research under the advisor once you go there. This sort of a communication from the start, especially for PhD, will help you a lot, because many a times for the PhDs, there are Skype interviews which take place between the advisor and the student, and if the student is able to impress the advisor in the Skype interview, then nothing like it. Okay, so it is always beneficial for the student going for PhD to approach the professor from the start or the advisor from the start, discussing the research interest, discussing the research topic, and go ahead. Here there is something which I would like to tell. There are some students who see that XYZ professor has good amount of funds available with him or her. This is something that they know from seniors who are there or from some or the other sources, and they feel they should do research under them because they'll get full funding. But the research topic doesn't interest the student. Now, this is something which is a very diabolical situation, because the student has to understand that this is the research topic that he or she is going to do for the next 5 years, and in the future is going to work on the same topic. So, do they want to pursue this as a career in the future is something that they have to understand. So it is always better to go for professors who have or research which is beneficial to you or which interests you, and that's how you go ahead basically. So you email or talk to the professors, you apply to the universities, you look at what the deadlines for the applications are, you look at what all requirements are there, like for example, GRE is required, TOEFL is required, IELTS is required, what sort of transcripts are required, what sort of SOPs, statement of purpose or essays are required, recommendations are required from what all people, are they required from research, academia, professional background, whatever. I mean, whatever sort of requirements are there, start working on them and try finishing or completing your application before the deadline. Ideally, generally the PhD deadlines are earlier than the normal master's deadline. Again, ideally speaking, if you are applying for a PhD, it is always beneficial to complete the PhD applications by October or November, because don't wait till December or January. Ideally speaking, that would benefit you a lot. That will help you a lot. And again, plan your applications right, create your applications correctly. This would help you, and be prepared for a Skype interview with a professor who is going to give you the research actually under them. And when you're sending your SOP or anything, please make sure to send your research proposal along with the application to the professor. Along with the SOP, a small research proposal of 2 to 3 pages would help you a lot. Don't send a 30-35 page research proposal. No one is going to read as such so much. A 2 to 3 page research proposal will actually help you a lot. So these are the opportunities, and yes, PhDs are more or less fully funded. The burden on your pocket will be nothing. So to summarize, the point here is that going for a PhD is a good option if you are up for it, for a 5-year challenge or a 5-year dedicated approach towards academics and research. Then please go for PhD. Don't go for PhD just for the funding and then say that I'll graduate with a master's later on. No, please don't do that. Plan your applications correctly. Because the number of seats available for PhD are very less, and the people applying they are quite a lot. So you need to make your application stand out. And yes, approach the professor from the start. This will help you a lot. I hope this session of ours has helped you. Again, the PhDs are fully funded mostly, so it's a good thing. You don't have to shell anything out of your own pocket. Yeah, so again, thank you for attending this thing, and hope this helps you. We have more sessions coming up. If you can just like the page or just sign